Welcome back to the Direct Response Playbook. I'm Travis Ketchum, founder of Campaign Refinery.
And I'm David Cardilano. I'm the owner of Wealthy Inbox.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So today we're going to talk about a subject that some people have different feelings on, but it should be, in my opinion, pretty unanimous. Let's talk about one-click unsubscribes, David. You got feelings on that or what?
Oh, I got so many feelings on that. I have spent more than enough time looking at emails where people try and hide the unsubscribe links. They try to get slick, put it at the bottom of the email. They try to white it out, just exclude it altogether. And it causes so much trouble and is technically illegal. So let's dive right into that. So when I say technically illegal, I am referring to the CAN-SPAM law in the United States. If you're listening to this in the other countries, in another country, run yourself a little Google search and figure out what your laws are around there. By the way,
Yeah.
if you're in the European Union, it's way stricter.
GDPR, Canada's CASO, like a lot of these different countries have their own version of this, but they all kind of mean the same thing. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly. When people want to unsubscribe, you let them. And the way I like to think of it is if you invite people over to a dinner party, your email list, and the entrance is nice and big, people walk right in. Imagine if you slam the door shut and say, all right, I'm locking this door. Good luck finding your way out. And we're going to talk
I'm
about
nailing
this
it.
party.
Yeah. I'm going to nail it shut, put boards over it, put the refrigerator in front of it.
And now you got to figure out where the exit is. By the way, it's a kiddie door located in one of the rooms of the 17-room mansion. I did that. Most of us in marketing know that. A lot of people don't even know that an unsubscribe link is an option. Ask your family. Ask your family if they know that you can unsubscribe from emails. Half of them will have no idea what you're talking about. People will just report to spam or ignore emails, which is why it's so important to have a one-click unsubscribe option, because Google doesn't care when people unsubscribe from your list, unless it's like a huge spike. But Google, Yahoo, AOL, if people unsubscribe, they unsubscribe. No big deal. It's when people complain, that's when the problem happens, which is why it's so important to give people a way out. And you don't make it a tiny little cat door at the bottom of the email in size, -0.3 text. So I could go on and on about that, but I don't want to hog the microphone. So Travis, passing it back to you. What are ways that people can implement the one-click unsubscribe that you've seen that really helps reduce spam complaints?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I think about when I think about one-click unsubscribe. The first is the placement in the email itself, right? We've touched on that a little bit. So making it easily findable and readable at the bottom of the email, appended in a way that is consistent, not tucked away in some big block of text that is a privacy policy where the middle sentence in light gray font has the underlink of unsubscribe, right? Like that kind of stuff pisses people off because if you're making them work to find it, they'll take the easy release valve of complaining. Okay. And so making it obvious at the bottom. The second component is making it obvious actually at the top of the email. By default, at Campaign Refinery, we have a little pill at the top that says no longer interested. Click here to unsubscribe. So before they even read the first word of your email, they can see text in an obvious way to get off of the list. Now, because it's in a pill, they get used to seeing it and they can skip over it to read your content if they like you. So it sort of blends into the design a little bit, but not so much that it's impossible to find. And then you also have technologies such as like list header unsubscribe, which is where if the email client supports it, things like the WebView in Gmail, the Apple Mail clients, they can identify this list header unsubscribe so that in the UI of the software, they can give the user a button to unsubscribe. Now, that's placement. But one of my pet peeves for people when they do one-click unsubscribe is it's not actually one click. And what I mean by that is they click the button to get me off the list, and it either requires me to do multiple steps, or it says, please type in the email you would like to unsubscribe, and it's not pre-filled. Right?
Drives me nuts.
One click means exactly what it says. One click. So when they click that link in your email, it should be done deal, game over, off the list.
Yep. And if you're working with an email service provider or custom solution, and if somebody clicks an unsubscribe link and they're taken to a place where they have to type in their email address, which is ridiculous, that's non-compliant. That's a direct violation of this CAN-SPAM law. So you are in violation of that law because of the platform you are using. It ain't even, I mean, it is your fault. You decided to go with the platform. But now that you have the knowledge of that platform, not following that rule, look, one click means one click. And I know there's some platforms that have 2-click unsubscribes where they're like, all right, you hit unsubscribe and now you have to hit another button to unsubscribe. Nah, man, it's got to be one. And it's also just be a good human. When people say they want to unsubscribe, that's it. Let them go. And I can hear on the other side of this microphone, I can hear a little bit of, oh, but my gosh, then my list is going to get so small. No, your list is going to get so engaged with people who actually want to be there. All right. And as someone who's in the newsletter space, I really don't care if you have a list of 100,000 people with a 10% open rate. I care a lot if you have a list of 20,000 people with a 60% open rate. Way more likely to acquire something because I'm like, that's an engaged audience that'd be more willing to refer, that'd be more willing to buy and click. That's what I'm looking for. And as a business owner, there's no use. The numbers are a vanity metric. All right. You can make a custom audience from the list with like Facebook or Google or whatever. But other than that, as far as email, it's who cares? Who cares if you have more?
I know that you know this, but it's more than just a vanity number. It's actually a bit of a poison pill because by having such a low engagement rate, your sender and domain reputation are going to go down, 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 down. And suddenly you won't even get in the 10%. You'll be getting 2 and 3%, right? And whereas if you were in that healthy range, let's say you had the 20,000 that you had in the example and a 60% open rate, that is not only sustainable, but that is the foundation of growth. That is where you can actually continue to grow and maintain a high sender reputation so that every new lead coming in has a fighting chance to actually inbox instead of trashing and taking your reputation. The one other component I want to talk about, the one click. What are your feelings about when people, you go to unsubscribe from, this is really bad in big brands, but let's say you're Disney and you click unsubscribe and it says that your unsubscribe will be processed in the next 5 to 10 business days.
So my thoughts around that, yes, CAN-SPAM says that's fine. You have 30 days to unsubscribe it, but go to a dinner party and say that. Really, like, go ahead, go and tell people, oh yeah, well, when people unsubscribe from my list, we still keep emailing them because technically we're in compliance, and see what they call you. See what words come out of their mouth. See the look that they give you.
Spammer.
You're a spammer. That's exactly what you are. Even though you're compliant, you're still spamming people. But
you're sending unsolicited mail because as soon as they have given you intent that they no longer want it, that is the breakup text. That is the game over. There's no clawing your way back.
Yep. And you're still, look, if I unsubscribe from something and I get an email after, I send it straight to spam. Why? Because I'm a human being, and that's how we operate when it comes to email. Some people just send stuff to spam, period. But if you don't honor the unsubscribe, then people are going to complain. You're going to go to you're going to go to spam anyway. So you might as well do it.
You took the high road by clicking unsubscribe, then they disrespected your time and preference by continuing to email you. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think this kind of covers the main points. Do you have anything else you wanted to cover about one click?
I think one of the things that my rule of thumb when I'm working with larger and larger lists, like if you have a 6-figure list, when I've worked with people who have that level of list in the past, I include 3 minimum on one-click unsubscribe links. One at the top, one right underneath the signature, and one at the bottom of the email. And some emails, if they're really long, put in another one. And again, it seems unorthodox that I want people to leave the list, but I'd rather the right people leave the list than the entire newsletter lands in the wrong place in spam because we've gotten too many spam complaints. Now it's all ruined. And one more point is that anytime people have been in spam, that I've gotten people out of spam, they didn't follow this rule. They just left a tiny ass unsubscribe link at the bottom of the email and thought that was enough. It's not. So you do what you want, but if you want to mess around and find out, you can keep that tiny unsubscribe link at the bottom and keep working with that ESP that has you on type in an email to unsubscribe, or you can go with an ESP that allows for multiple unsubscribe options and a one-click unsubscribe. So you're compliant in the first place and you don't have to worry about Google, AOL, Yahoo coming down on you like a ton of bricks for it.
And you can sleep like a baby because you know you weren't a jerk about how you operated your email.
That's right.
Cool.
So
Well, I think that kind of wraps it up. I think that gives people the main sort of, do's and don'ts and, the sand traps and booby traps along the way. Things to be looking out for about how maybe their current software selection technically complies, but it's not really the best practice, and how they could be improving that and get better results. Thanks so much for your help, David. If people want to learn more about how to get that one-click unsubscribe on newsletters, and then, because you're trying to scale them and you're trying to figure out how to find that one that you can acquire that has a 60% open rate. What's the word, man? What's the good news?
Yeah, they can go over to wealthyinbox.news. It's my newsletter on selling newsletters, and you can take a look at that. And I do rant on deliverability there every so often, and an unsubscribe edition will be coming out soon, I promise. Clearly, I'm passionate about this.
Yeah. Cool. And if you're looking for an ESP that does a lot of these things by default and encourages great behavior and makes the experience seamless and smooth as much as possible, check us out, campaignrefiner.com. We obsess about deliverability. We really obsess about the strategy that goes along with that. And we work really, really hard to provide features that get that outcome for all of our customers. So check that out. If you like what you heard today, give us a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about email marketing and digital marketing in general, hit that subscribe. And if you want to read an in-depth blog post that our content team put together about one-click unsubscribes and list headers and all these different components that you need so you can pass it along to your manager or your boss to show them just how much your current platform or current solution or current workflow is doing it incorrectly, and they can read bullet by bullet what needs to change, that blog post is in the description as well. Until next time, talk to you soon.